Jose Young's here with MMAfighting.com, speaking with Paige VanZant here at her second Power Slap Media Week. I know the last few times I've interviewed you, it's been for UFC fights, but I have to ask, the last time we saw you in Abu Dhabi was you were in the bubble. It was like peak pandemic time. How does it feel to be back here in Abu Dhabi when you can, actually go and explore?
Oh, it's been the best, honestly. This time I actually got to leave the hotel room. We were the first era of like the bubble during COVID and
Sure were.
fight week and all of that. So we actually weren't even allowed to leave the hotel. So now I've already gone to the mall. We're going to go to the desert tonight. We're doing absolutely everything as tourists and like embracing the culture and like having a ton of fun.
Was there any hesitation in taking it all the way out here and so close to, Austin just had a fight, and then I assume it's from the arena, hotel, straight to the airport, get off, right into media day?
Oh my gosh, there was hesitation taking it just because my husband fought. It feels like yesterday because we haven't slept.
Sure.
So technically he fought 2 days ago in New York. We ended up leaving the arena at midnight. We had to be in the lobby at 3 a.m. to get our shuttle, 6 a.m. flight to JFK, a 7-hour layover in JFK, and then a 13-hour flight here. So luckily I'm very, very good at sleeping on airplanes. So I literally slept like 10 hours at the 13-hour flight.
Well, before we get onto your fight, I do have to ask, this is also UFC Fight Week. Austin might be a free agent. Are you guys talking to the powers that be at the UFC?
You know what? We haven't yet, but I would anticipate that conversation should be happening soon. He had an incredible first-round knockout with a jab. So, and then, there was a fight that fell through at 170, and we were on the flight. And we're like, all right, when we land, let's offer to take it. And then they had already filled the spot, but he was going to take it if they needed an opponent.
Well, looking at your career, I think this is the first time you've competed in the same sport twice in a calendar year since 2021. And before that, it was 2016, obviously, because of your broken arms and everything. So I guess, how does it feel to, like, the last time we spoke, you said you thought you could do this much more frequently than your MMA career. So is this like, how's it been being a power slap athlete and just being this active as you once were in your younger MMA career?
Oh, absolutely. I had an unfortunate series of injuries with my arm. That's why I slap left-handed. I broke my arm.
I never thought about it. Yeah,
broke my arm 4 times, 3 surgeries. So it was hard to be active in the sport, and especially the weight cut as a female. I was still young and coming of age, so the weight cut really messed me up, and it was hard for me to compete multiple times in a calendar year through all of those factors. For this, I walk around on weight. I'm able to compete far more often, and I anticipate all goes well, I'll be on the December card too. So.
Well, looking at your opponent, Chelsea, I just spoke to. She was in here just before you, and she's a home baker. She watches Power Slap. She just signed up without telling her husband John. They call her and said, "Hey, we want you to match up with Paige in Abu Dhabi." She's like, "Really, me?" And so I guess doesn't have any real combat experience. She thought about doing amateur kickboxing, but it didn't work out. So I guess, what do you make of her as an opponent?
I think it's an awesome opponent. I mean, especially because her husband's a legend. Like, watching him in his UFC career, going in, and he does BKFC now. It's like these two really familiar worlds, obviously. I did BKFC in the UFC. I feel like successful couples marry each other for a reason. She's definitely going to be tough. I think she's going to be very athletic. I'm curious, more just curious about how she's going to hit, if she's going to hit hard. I do think that there comes value in having combat experience, knowing how to take a punch, knowing how to take a slap, knowing how to give one. But you know what? I'm not going to overlook her at all. Athletes are athletes, and this is far less elements of like combat sports experience that's required. You don't need as much training and as much discipline to be prepared. So I'm expecting her to be prepared, but I also think it's just going to be a really fun match.
And I remember before your power slap debut, you said you wouldn't mind going second, like slapping second just to feel it. She said the same thing. She says if you get slapped, you might make you stronger. I think she's going first, she said.
She is going first. And going into the first one, I was like, you know what? It would be kind of nice to slap second, feel everything your opponent has to give, and then it'll, deflate them if they can't finish you with that first slap. And that's kind of the way I see this. I'm excited to get hit first. I'm excited to feel everything she has. I have a feeling I could take it. I can definitely take a punch, or take a slap.
Sure.
And now I know how to really give one, and I think that's going to be probably a surprise.
And then just last one for me. I mean, we see the numbers when you compete, like there obviously is a spike in interest. Have you kind of felt like maybe other people that didn't watch Power Slap are now watching it or asking you about it more since you made your debut?
Absolutely. I think before, people were just kind of curious, like, kind of what is that and like why is that happening? Why is Dana promoting it so much? But I feel like it was the same with BKFC. When I went over to bare knuckle boxing, it was kind of this like element of like what in the world.
Right.
And now that sport has absolutely taken off, and I hope that I was a part of kind of the takeoff of the sport. For this, I hope the same thing. I think it's incredible. People get nervous about, I think, just, you know, the head trauma. You stand there and you take a slap from somebody. But between my last power slap and this one, I haven't been hit in the head not one time. So you have to really think, like, taking the training element out of it, not getting hit in the head repetitively, preparing for a fight, really is a benefit to, like, your overall health.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck on Thursday. I was about to say Saturday because like we got all these UFC fighters walking around. So good luck Thursday.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.